Life is expensive, but there's certain everyday money mistakes that many people make without even realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll better understand these common financial behaviors to avoid so you can stop wasting your money and start building wealth. Now, I've saved some of the best tips for the end of this video, so I do recommend watching this in its entirety so you don't miss out on anything. And now let's get into it. Okay, so the first mistake to avoid is lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. At some point in your life, you've likely received a raise at work or paid off a car loan, essentially some form of event that has left you with more money in your hand every single month. If this has ever happened to you, then you could be a victim of this financial mistake. Lifestyle creep happens once your discretionary income rises, and so do your expenses. In this way, things that used to be seen as luxuries to you are now everyday spending items. Maybe you start buying nicer clothes, go to fancier restaurants. Really just your spending is increasing far beyond what you used to spend. And as these expenses continue to rise and rise, you are left with less savings. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. That is, of course, the main goal. But lifestyle creep can hinder your ability to reach your long-term financial goals. So really, the way to overcome this financial mistake is to set a budget, try to live frugally when you can, seek out deals, and avoid impulsive spending. This next financial mistake is often a major part of lifestyle creep, and this is buying cars that are outside of your budget. Cars can be status symbols or personal life goals for some people. And while there's nothing wrong with being proud of the car that you drive, it shouldn't come as a financial burden to you. You may be asking, when it comes to cars, how do I know how much I can afford? The truth is, there really isn't a quick, easy answer to that question. The reason being is everyone has their own personal circumstances. Some people plan to keep cars longer. Some people like to buy cars. Some people like to lease cars. Financial experts often suggest a monthly car payment between 10 to 15% of your monthly take-home pay as a maximum. On the other hand, some experts suggest always buying cars in cash. Again, there are many variables at play, including how long you plan to keep the car, insurance costs, gas, and things like that. Above all, just try to find a car that is reasonable for your current lifestyle and the amount of money you make. You really don't want to have something that goes outside of your budget. And speaking of budgets, this next financial mistake is not having a budget. In the modern world, there's really no excuse to not have a budget. There are mobile apps like Rocket Money that allow you to track your spending and set out a budget very easily. You don't have to make a spreadsheet, build anything from scratch. It's all within these mobile apps. Once you set a budget, it is up to you though to make sure you actually follow what you have set in place. And one reason people tend to go above their budget every single month is due to having credit card debt. Simply put, you should never carry a balance on your credit cards. You can set up auto pay so every single month you have nothing to worry about with regards to your bills. There are some credit cards that offer a 0% introductory APR. And while some people can manage these balance transfers and really holding off on paying interest, it can become a slippery slope once the introductory periods end and you're forced to start paying your bill if you've racked up a lot of credit card debt. While credit cards can be a great option for many people, if you find yourself struggling to pay off your credit card bill every month, it's probably best to stick with debit cards until you get yourself in a better financial situation. Now, beyond mistakes with spending money, you actually may be saving your money the wrong way. This next mistake is not using HYSAs. HYSAs, or high yield savings accounts, are a great alternative to your traditional brick and mortar banks. These are typically online-only bank accounts offering higher interest rates or APYs versus, again, these traditional banks. On average, with your traditional bank, you'll receive about 0.01 to 0.05% interest, whereas with an HYSA, right now you can earn 4% or more depending on the bank that you choose. Now, one thing to note is that these rates do change with the economy. At this current point in time, the rates are relatively high, but in the future, again, these rates will change. On this channel, we've reviewed many of the top HYSAs, so make sure to check out those videos if you're interested. Also, feel free to subscribe to my free newsletter. There's a link in the description. Here I'll share even more personal finance tips, product reviews, and insights to make money online. It only takes a few minutes to read and can really help you out financially. So maybe you do have some savings in an HYSA. Either way, you should still make sure that you're avoiding this next financial mistake. Next up is not having an emergency fund. According to Bankrate, a trusted name in personal finance, over half of US adults are uncomfortable with the amount of emergency savings they currently have. By definition, an emergency fund is really just money you have specifically reserved for unplanned emergencies. Depending on where you are in your life, this can be things like losing a job, car or home repairs, or even medical bills. Truthfully, the relief you will feel from making sure that you have an emergency fund in place will change your life. You'll feel so much less stress and anxiety knowing that you have a financial safety net if anything happens. The actual amount of money you need in your emergency fund does vary by person, but a typical rule of thumb is to save up 3 to 6 months of your expenses and have those in savings, ideally in an HYSA. Personally, I prefer to keep a 12-month emergency fund as I'm extremely risk averse. I've also noticed that the more I have in my emergency fund, the less stress I feel every day. And aside from these short-term savings, long-term savings are also extremely important to make sure you're avoiding this next financial mistake. Next is neglecting investing for retirement. It's pretty easy to just go through your day-to-day life, worry about your short-term savings, and really not think much about retirement. The issue is, once that day comes in the future, if you don't have enough savings available, you're gonna have to keep working. The general financial advice is to invest early and often, ideally in your 20s. If you work for a company that has employee-sponsored retirement plans, like 401ks or 403bs, make sure you are contributing to them as soon as possible. Often companies will match your contributions up to a certain percentage, and this is really free money that you should be taking advantage of. If you're still fairly early on in your career and can save 10 to 15% of your income towards retirement, you will more than likely be in a good place. Now, of course, if you are closer to that retirement age, I do recommend meeting with a financial advisor, as you may have to increase the amount that you contribute. Now, perhaps you do have your retirement saving under control, but you still could be making this next financial mistake. This is having your job as your only source of income. While jobs often require a bulk of your mental or physical bandwidth during the week, having a side hustle can be a great way to explore your passions while also bringing in some extra income. Some ideas include dog walking, buying real estate, selling artwork, or even making a YouTube channel. Even if you can save an extra $5,000 per year, this can really help you pay for things like rent, groceries, or even free up some money so you can have fun on the weekends. Including this final financial mistake could seem counterintuitive, but it's actually the most important on the list. The last financial mistake is focusing too much on money. Money is essential to exist in our modern society. It's how you buy things. It's how you hire people. And with money, many great things can happen, from medical discoveries to philanthropy to making memories with friends and family. At the end of your life, if you found that you spent every waking moment chasing more and more money, you will likely have many regrets. There's nothing wrong with trying to make more money, trying to spend less, live frugally, but again, make sure you're enjoying your life along the journey. Don't stress too much because no one makes it out alive. Before making any drastic money decisions, I do recommend you meet with a financial advisor. And with that, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to keep learning about personal finance, check out this video as well.